Hey guys, Kickstarter here. Just wanted to say this. I'm gonna upload this video because I spent 4 hours making it, and I just went down to go put it live on the radio, and it was terrible. The audio quality sucked. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's not going on the radio. It's just gonna be uploaded straight to YouTube. No live premiere, no nothing like that. It's just gonna go straight up. No countdown, nothing. It's gonna go straight onto YouTube, and then you can have it because I spent too much time to just kill it. All right, I spent way too much time. I did the stupid counter. I did the. It sucks to be starting off my second video like this, but if you were here for the whole process, I barely finished this in time. I was 15 minutes late to start it. I just started it. Audio's not working. Mic system is off. I cannot get it to work. I finally get it to work, and there's a random voiceover that spans across the whole video. I don't know where I'm. Well, I do know now that I messed up. But I'm just going to put this right now. It's 3:33 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. This video is supposed to be done by 2. I was late. I scheduled it for 3:15. I just got back from the radio station, and it sucked. So it's not going to go live. But I was like, all right, let's talk college football. And I did terrible. I couldn't do it. And I said, you know what? We're not doing this. I haven't been on the radio in 2 months. I'm not warmed up. Screw it. We're not doing it. Have a nice day. Listen, go back to music. Turn music back on. Came up here. Got angry, looked at where the voice recording was that needed to be deleted, deleted it. I'm going to put this disclaimer in front of the video, and then we're done. Another thing, I deleted the original disclaimer. This is the new one. I said I'd talk college football and hockey. Hockey, I talked about an hour and a half. I don't have the time. I deleted that. I did not have enough time to edit that. We'll talk about it another time. So there's no hockey here. That's it. Thank you very much. I spent too much time editing this to throw it away, so please enjoy. It might get deleted, who knows, but thank you. Please enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Kickstart Sports Radio. I'm your host, Charlie Cash, aka Kickstart. Welcome to the show. All sports, no ads, except for the occasional plug. Speaking of occasional plugs, we have an Instagram and a YouTube for the show. Find us there at Kickstart Sports Radio. No space, no caps. KICKSTARTS PORTS RADIO. Kickstart Sports Radio. You can also find us on KNMC Radio 90.1 FM in the Havre area. Now, let's jump into it. So, tomorrow I do plan on having... I do plan on at least recording my Week 15 predictions. I don't think I'm going to do reactions anymore. I think I'm just going to react to the week as I talk about the teams and their next games. The only time you won't hear about a game is when the team is on a bye. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But today we're actually going to talk some college football. I'll go into a little bit of hockey just because we're about a quarter of the way through the season. Not too much basketball yet, just because I'm not I'm not the biggest basketball guy, and you guys know this. I talk about it a lot, and I figured you guys don't want to hear my opinions, considering they're probably just wrong. So we won't talk about that. We won't discuss it. Let's just talk about some college football. We'll talk about the playoffs. I'm not gonna do a whole college football ranking. That'll come later. But we're gonna talk about a bigger issue that's happening today. Another thing. This is going on the radio as everyone is listening to this right now. If you are listening to this live, whether through the radio or YouTube, it is on the other one. I'm playing the YouTube live stream on the radio. Super excited. First time I've done it. We should have a lot of fun with it. In case you don't know, because I haven't been on the radio in like 2 months, the preamp went out on mic 1, so I was like, well, I guess I can't do it. But apparently we're supposed to use mic 3. And so I was like, nah, I'll just wait for preamp to get fixed. It's been 2 months, and so I was like, you know what? Let's just record it on YouTube and then play it through the radio. So that's what I'm doing now. As of right now, if you're listening through the radio, I am just sitting there making sure the video audio is playing. There are no mics on. This is being recorded. It's 10:09 a.m. Monday morning. So this is a day ago. So if big news happens on Tuesday, sorry about that, but yeah, this video should go live about Tuesday at about 2 p.m. Hey everybody, it's me. I'm from the future. This is it's 12:06 p.m. on Tuesday. I go live in about 2 hours. I just wanted to say, I mentioned that what you're listening to is being recorded on Monday, and I said, if any big news happens, figuring like nothing big would happen. So the Colts are signing Phillip Rivers. What? What do you mean? He hasn't played since COVID, and he's making he has a Hall of Fame case, so he's resetting his Hall of Fame case. Speaking of reset, I got to shave. I just noticed that now, but anyways, I also wanted to give a quick announcement. This video right now, pre-edit, is about 45 minutes in length. I'll probably cut it down to about 30, 35. So I'll have another hour. So I'll probably just sit there and talk on the radio about things I didn't talk. If you would like to go and listen to that, please go to msun.edu/KNMC. Again, that's msun.edu/KNMC. Kilo Mike November Charlie. KNMC. Kilo November Mike Charlie. I'll get it right. Anyways, thank you all for listening. I'm going to talk about some we're going to get a little personal, but if you want the full experience of what you're listening to right now, please tune in msun.edu/KNMC. If you are in the Havre area, you can go to your car and tune into FM radio. It's free. 90.1 FM. It's free. You can listen to me through your car. If you're not in the Havre area, unfortunately, you're just going to have to tune in online. But you can just go to Google. Again, KNMC, msun.edu/KNMC. It's been a long day already. I know it's noon. It's been a long day. I'm working through some stuff, and I apologize. I had to get personal for a little bit, and I didn't want to put this on YouTube to stay up there forever. I just want to talk about it on the radio, and I figured I'd have some extra time. So I'm going to do that after the show. Thank you for bearing with me. Back to Monday, Charlie. Well, we're now going to move into our weekly ring review. I did this on the radio, but now that I have like a face cam, it's actually going to be way easier to do. This week's ring. Atlanta Braves World Series ring. On the front of it is just a baseball diamond, 1914 World Series Boston Braves. Yeah, I said Atlanta Braves. They were the Boston Braves at the time. Atlanta is one of the oldest baseball teams. They have the first World Series sweep, which is this one, and I'll tell you about what it says on the side. They're also one of the only baseball teams, I think they might be the only baseball team, to win in 3 different cities. They have one in Boston, one in Milwaukee, and then 2 in Atlanta, which is surprising. The city of Atlanta only has 2 championship trophies. Both of them are World Series, 1995, 2021. It's insane. So, we'll just go into the side details and we'll get into the show. On one side, it says Rabbit Marinville, who's I believe the manager of the team at the time. And then it says BA40, Boston Braves, and Philadelphia Athletics 40. And then on the other side, it is a long paragraph, all just written in the gold. And I'll tell you what it says. Quote, Boston Braves blanks, BLANX, blanks the Philadelphia A's, the first 4-game sweep in World Series history, 1914. So, what I think is what I find interesting about this is first has a space in it. FIR space ST. I don't know why, but there is. And then sweeping, or sweep in, because game sweep in World Series history, sweep in has no space. So sweep, like sweeping, you know, like what are you doing? I'm sweeping the floor. They typed it like that. Obviously, I'm sure it's a mistake because this is just a replica. I only have 2 real rings up there, but this is just a replica. So, yeah, and then there's nothing on the shank for the replica. I don't know if the real one has anything. I'll put a little editor note if there is one, but yeah, that is our ring for the week. So. All right, let's move on. All right, here we go. So, college football playoffs. So, here's your bracket. I tinkered with it for about 15 minutes. I cannot figure out a way to make it so you guys can see JMU and the plugs without my head just being in the way. This is JMU, James Madison University, at the 12th seed, I think that is. So, we're just going to let it be. Now, this is not going to be predictions. I'm just going to go over the big kind of elephant in the room, which is the 2 big teams that didn't make it in. BYU and Notre Dame. Now, first of all, do I like the committee? So actually, let's just jump into what the committee is. So the way that works in NFL is it goes by, did you win your division? Yes or no? Do you have the best record out of 4 teams? So like example, the NFC North or AFC North, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens. I almost said Boston Braves, Cincinnati Bengals, and Pittsburgh Steelers. Those 4 teams, whichever one of them has the best record, is in the playoffs. So they get a home game. And correspond to the other division winners. That's where you get your seed 1 through 4. Then after that is a wild card. Each conference, so the AFC and the NFC, get 3 teams with the best record that didn't win their division to go in, which is kind of weird because then you could get situations like last year where the Vikings did not host a playoff game, but the team that they played was way, way worse than them. The Vikings were 14-3, and they played the Rams, who were I think they were 11-6. They might have even been 10-7. I don't know. But they were supposed to play in LA, but because of the wildfires, they ended up playing in Arizona. But the Rams still beat them. So the Vikings were kind of fraudulent. But either way, That's just how it works. How it works in college, there's a committee, and they just kind of pick the teams. They do the power rankings every week, and then at week 11, they do the college football playoff committee, where you don't need to start this at week 11, and I feel like that's a big outrage, but what happens is there's a separate committee that picks who makes the playoffs, and they start picking in week 11, like they start releasing what their power rankings are in week 11, which is what causes a lot of outrage. I'll talk about it, but they just pick the team. And for a first-time person hearing that, you'd think, well, can't they be corrupt? They absolutely can. There's nothing to stop that. And a lot of people, the committee never makes anyone happy. It's insane. A big upset you'll probably remember from not too long ago was Alabama making it in over FSU about, I think it was 2023, to go play Michigan. That was a big one because Alabama was undefeated except for against, I believe the only team they lost to was Georgia, who was in the playoffs. And then FSU was undefeated and they missed the playoffs. It was insane. Now, that was back when it was a 4-team bracket. This is 12. So, let's just talk about it now. Notre Dame and BYU. And then the other outlier here is Alabama is a 3-loss team. Usually how it works is once you lose 3 games, it's kind of impossible to make it in. Texas A&M has 1 loss. Miami has 2 losses. Ole Miss has, I believe, 2. I'd have to look at all their individual records. But the big ones you need to pay attention to. Alabama has 2 losses. Or 3 losses. And then JMU and Tulane are G5 teams. So a group of 5 teams. So what does that mean? Well, there's a bunch of different conferences. So in the NFL, there's the AFC and the NFC. In college, there's the SEC, Southeastern Conference. That's the one you'll hear about the most. They have the Big 12. They have the Big 10. Or is it Power 12? I can never remember these. I have so much football knowledge, it makes my college football knowledge look absolutely pitiful. So the 2 big ones are the SEC and the Big 10. But the major one is the SEC. In the SEC, you can lose about 3 games and still probably have a chance to make it in because you're playing the big teams. You're playing the tough opponents. If I were to go out, or let's say hypothetically, my team were to play Texas Tech, Indiana, Georgia, and Ohio State and lose all 4 of those games, the committee would look at that and go, well, they played the top 4 teams, but they beat everybody else. They're the 5. So that's logically possible. Obviously, you're never going to play those 4 teams because one's SEC. I don't even know what. I'm pretty sure Texas Tech is Big 12, and then Indiana, Ohio State are Big 10. But the big thing what happened was there was 1 spot up for grabs, or there were kind of 2 spots up for grabs. But the way that they set up the bracket 2 years ago was they made it so 2 spots were saved for group of 5 teams, Tulane and JMU. But JMU and Tulane are not good. They will probably lose in the first round. I'm not going to get into it, but they are not good. It'd be like having. No diss, but it would be like having Montana or North Dakota State in these playoffs. They're going to get smacked. Oregon's the 5 seed. They played Montana State in week 1. They destroyed them by like 60. It's insane. So the gap, they're essentially a glorified FCS school. And FBS is this, and then FCS is like Montana State, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana State. Montana and Montana State. Same thing. I don't remember which one I said, but either way, it's a huge deal. And so the fact they were like, listen, group of 5, you can go undefeated and you're still worse than everybody. So we're going to give you 2 playoff spots. We'll give you the 11 and 12 seed. Awesome. The problem is before that week, there was a huge upset. Duke ended up making it to the ACC championship game against Virginia. And Duke was a 5-loss team. They were 7-5. And so everyone knew if Duke somehow upset Virginia, they were not making the playoffs and there was going to be no ACC winner in the playoffs. That was insane. And then Duke went and beat Virginia and everyone was like, whoa, what is going on? So Duke did not make the playoffs. And now ACC is trying to make him. Like they're like, oh, you should put him in the play. Obviously, that was before this bracket came out. But it's just insane. It came down to Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. Now, here's the big thing. 2 weeks ago, and I'll pull up this image, as you can see, Notre Dame, BYU, Miami are competing for that last spot. And Alabama's the 9. This is the most controversial part of the whole thing, and I'm gonna disagree with what everyone says. Georgia and Alabama went to play the SEC championship. They took a week that they had off, and they went to go play. And if Alabama had beat Georgia, they would have gotten another week. Or they would have they would have jumped up more spots. They would have been able to, they probably would have taken the 3 seed over Georgia. And they already beat them earlier in the year, which was Georgia's only loss. Alabama ended up losing by 3 scores to Georgia. But here's the problem. You cannot drop a team that goes out of their way to go play their own conference championship. Why is that? Because let's say I'm Alabama and I'm like, hey, we're the 9 seed. We're locked into the playoffs, but we're 2 spots away from being out. We have a chance to go play this juggernaut and it doesn't matter. Let's say it's a hypothetical different season. We have a chance to go play for the SEC in a higher seed, or we can sit here, take another week off, and then not go and play the SEC championship game. Take another week off, and then we get weaker opponents in the playoffs. There's 2 different mindsets. And then everyone is saying, hey, I want Alabama. Alabama lost. They have 3 losses now. Oklahoma, Georgia, and Florida State. They're like, hey, we want them to drop because they lost the SEC championship game. That's stupid. Why on earth would a team go to their conference championship if they can drop after they lose it? And that is a double-sided sword, or double-edged sword, because BYU played the Big 12 championship against Texas Tech. They lost, and they got bounced, which is kind of. I'll tell you. But BYU lost by a bunch to Texas Tech. BYU is 11-1. The only team they lost, or 11-2. The only team they lost to, Texas Tech twice. Lost to them twice. Now, is Texas Tech one of the better teams in the league? Yes. Should BYU be in over Alabama? I would say yes, just because Alabama's loss to FSU was super ugly, but I would put BYU in. Now, here's the big thing, is that Notre Dame and Miami have played each other head-to-head. That's a huge thing. If you have 2 teams right next to each other, and the team lower beat the team that's higher, you're going to switch them, obviously. Let's say, so it's on the thing right now, Oklahoma, Alabama, 8-9. Oklahoma beat Alabama, so they get the 8 they get the 8 over Alabama. If Alabama had beat Oklahoma, they'd probably be at the 4, but let's just say hypothetically they're still at 9 and they beat Oklahoma. They'd be the 8 over Oklahoma. They have to respect head-to-heads. Now, this is right before it came out, but as you can see, there's one big thing. Miami's at the 12, Notre Dame's at the 10, holding the last playoff spot. The only thing keeping them separated is BYU, which means that if BYU were to lose, they would drop them 1 spot behind Miami, and then Miami and Notre Dame would flip because they're right next to each other, and you have to respect that head-to-head. Miami is a much better team than Notre Dame. Notre Dame does not belong in the playoffs. For everyone saying Notre Dame got robbed, it's BS. I hate it. Notre Dame got robbed. BYU got robbed. I'm so sick and tired. Okay, listen, my boss is a Notre Dame fan, and so is his brother. So I'm gonna be nice as possible. But I haven't heard anything from him. Obviously, he's not in my ear going, "Oh, you better not talk about this." He hasn't said anything. But they do not belong in the playoffs. Notre Dame is not a playoff team. They do not belong under this circumstance. They could probably be a playoff team. They just went to the national championship game last year, for crying out loud. But they do not belong in this format. It is insane. Is the format stupid? I agree. It should be a 16-team playoff, no committee, goes solely based off of record. But it is ridiculous how insanely difficult it is to make this work. And the way that it works right now, Notre Dame should not be in. In my perfect world, it's Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. Top 4, perfectly fine. Going into these later rankings, we got a problem, all right? First up, JMU, Tulane, group of 5 teams. I'm sorry, one of you does deserve a spot, not 2. JMU, you're out. Tulane, you're moving to the 12. Next, Miami, you're moving down a spot because the team I'm putting at 10 is BYU. BYU's in. Miami is still in, but they're playing Ole Miss instead of A&M, so they're playing a slightly harder team. Yeah, that's all I had to say about college football. So it's a disaster, but my final say should be group of 5, you're out. Tulane, you're the 12. Miami, you're the 11. Put BYU in at the 10, and then we're gonna switch in BYU. And then my other big thing is that Notre Dame is not a playoff team. If there's one thing you take away from this video, Notre Dame does not deserve to be a playoff team. That's all I gotta say. And that's what we're gonna call it here. I think I got all I need. I got this lav mic hooked up to my cross because the clip works perfectly with it. I hope it sounds better. Hello. I hope it sounds a lot better. We'll have to see. If it doesn't sound good, I'll put a Blue Yeti mic on my Christmas list, but who knows? I'll just buy it with my own money this summer. I'm working. Or winter, I'm working. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks for listening, and let's get you guys out of here. I'll see you guys Thursday for some Week 15 predictions. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, find a way for the A. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you Thursday. Peace out.